What are the chances that China is going to actually want to come to the table and talk?
I think early days, Alex. I mean, so far as I am aware, what we've heard from the Chinese side is not so different from their position up until now. So, I mean, obviously I'm not privy to the kind of conversations that the president may or the White House may or may not have had with his Chinese counterparts. But Liu He, who's the President Xi Jinping's senior negotiator and kind of economics guru and overlord, basically has made some comments which are consistent with what they said before, which is that the Chinese think that trade war is bad for everybody and that they're always prepared to talk, and the situation remains that they are open to negotiation. So I don't know if there's anything specific about what the president is saying or has heard, but I wouldn't get my hopes up too much at this stage.
Well, fair. And George, it brings me to sort of what are the options that China has, considering at some point they're going to run out of U.S. goods to tax. Citi had an interesting note out sort of going through all the possible ramifications, like an increased, exports of rare earth materials. We hear that a lot. Potentially longer processing time for licenses for companies, consumer boycotts, more regulatory screening. What's the order of likelihood of what we'll actually see from China if they need to amp up their response?
Well, I mean, one kind of little glimmer of those options actually was evident during the last week when, actually I forget where it appeared in the whole kind of tit-for-tat cycle that we saw during the last 10 days. But when China announced a retaliatory measure to the president's decision to implement his tariffs from September again, or the punitive tariffs, China announced higher tariffs on $75 billion worth of U.S. goods. But about, I would say, almost a fifth of those goods had already been subject to punitive tariffs. So what the Chinese have done is basically to double up, basically, is to increase the tariff on already tariffed products. So they can clearly do that, but beyond that, I think they must be weighing this up, kind of really carefully, because obviously they have the option to ban particular kinds of exports, and they have the option they have their own entity list of companies which they would draw up to target if they are deemed to damage Chinese interests. And of course, the bureaucratic and red tape intrusion into the activities of U.S. companies, of course, is something which is also kind of fairly commonplace. Yeah.
All right, George, to wrap it up, as the market expert here, dollar yuan, just how high can we go? Just how low can the yuan go? What are we looking at?
I'm sorry, just once more, I didn't catch the question.
The dollar yuan, we're at 115 over the last 2 days. Where do we get to?
Yeah, so I mean, I think overnight, I think we hit a kind of an 11-year low of around 717. I think one quote was even a little bit kind of weaker than that, yuan to the US dollar. I mean, I think this is not a random market movement. I think people of China is just letting it go incrementally a little bit as the tariff war kind of hots up. But I mean, ultimately, I think there's going to be a significant depreciation of the yuan, maybe to 8 or beyond 8. I don't think that's going to happen in the near term, because I think it's far too destabilizing for China and for to do that. But eventually, I think the incompatibility of Chinese monetary policy and the reserve cover of the financial system, I think, will actually bring this about. But for the moment, I think we should expect to see the PBC, People's Bank of China, continue to just let the yuan-dollar rate slide. It fulfills an important messaging system for them.